All right. Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the New Technologies for Search and Rescue Operations webinar. My name is Christos Danos, and I am the coordinator of the Search and Rescue project, funded under the European Union's Horizon 2020 program, which organizes this webinar and is hosted by our partner, PSC Europe. This is the third webinar organized by the project after the clustering webinar on new technologies for first responders in December 2020 and the people with disabilities in search and rescue operations in March 2021. The purpose of this series of the SNR webinar is firstly to raise awareness about the project and provide an update on our activities. So today we are going to spend some time to show its progress and some of its early findings and results. These will be presented by Alexandru Dimitrascu from Proeco and Iosif Sklavidis from Connectable. Then we'll have a short Q&A session about what was presented. After we have a 1-hour break, we will dive into the second part of the webinar where we will offer a platform for discussion and experience exchange on key issues related to search and rescue between our project partners and external experts and initiatives and all the rest of the guests. We will share experiences from the search and rescue operations during recent disasters in Europe, focusing on the floods in Germany and the wildfires in Greece during this summer, chaired by Marie-Christine Bonamour from PSC Europe. We are going to have presentations from Stephen Bayer of the International Search and Rescue Germany, Iliana Korma and Philippe Besson from PUI France, Angelica Apostolaki from Epomea, Radu Andriciu from Proeco, Antonios Koukouzas and Iason Alifers from EPAIPS, and Uwe Kipnich from the Bavarian Red Cross. We will then leave some time in the end for an open discussion, and we will wrap up the meeting. Please keep in mind that this webinar is being recorded and we are going to share the video as well as the presentation files after the event. Everyone here were muted on entry. The simplest way to manage questions is if you write them directly in the chat, indicate to whom you address them, but in the public chat. For example, I would like to ask Christos, where should I ask my question? And finally, if you're not a speaker in this webinar, please turn off your camera. Please join me in watching a short introductory video before we start the presentations.
Both natural and man-made disasters, such as earthquakes or terrorist attacks, may result in people entrapped under debris and collapsed structures. In the face of such critical situations, a timely and effective response is crucial to prevent or reduce the number of casualties. This is why first responders who engage in search and rescue operations need to be equipped with cutting-edge tools and specialized instrumentation that enhances the timing and accuracy of interventions and reduces false alarms. Search and Rescue is a European project funded under the Horizon 2020 research program. It is composed of 28 partners from 12 European countries, including practitioners specialized in search and rescue operations, research institutes, and industrial partners. The Search and Rescue project will design, implement, and test through a series of large-scale pilot scenarios a highly interpretable open architecture platform. With it, we can increase the safety and also improve the decision-making and the operational capabilities of first responders. The Search and Rescue platform will help to introduce next-generation solutions and equipment, including front-end equipment systems and collection tools, to acquire relevant and sensible information in real time. This includes sensors, smart equipment, drones, rescue robots, first aid devices, and more. Data fusion and mediation systems, to fuse the information from heterogeneous sources and provide more detailed and accurate situational awareness for the decision makers and command centers to use. Back-end applications, services, and portals to support crisis managers with enhanced decision support capabilities. Follow the progress of our project on our website www.search-and-rescue.eu and follow us on social media.
And with that, I would like to invite Alexandru Dumitrascu from Proeco and Iosif Sklavridis to start their presentation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alexandru Dumitrascu from Proeco team from Romania. And in the next few minutes, I would like to present you to make a short presentation about the update of the search and rescue project, emerging technology for the early location of entrapped victim under collapse structure and advanced wearable for risk assessment and for responder safety in S&R operation.
Alexandru, can you please activate the full screen, please?
I don't understand. Please repeat.
Can you please go in full screen mode?
No, the presentation mode, that button right on the left of the Zoom.
Yes, the first icon on the, yes, this one.
Yeah.
It's okay?
Yes, perfect.
First of all, about some facts and figures. Okay, also Christos informed you about the topics, call of proposal, grant agreement, total budget, and about the coordinator, which is National Technical University of Athens. Is a big consortium composed by 28 partners from Greece, Estonia, Romania, Italy, Ireland, Spain, Cyprus, Belgium, Germany, Austria, and Poland. The component of consortium is from universities, research and development institutes, industrial partners, and also 9 end users from Greece, Germany, Austria, Italy, France, Romania, and Spain. In this project, we have 11 work packages. From WP1 to WP7, there are more technical. WP8 is about S&R validation and demonstration, and I will give you some more details. WP9 to WP11 is about dissemination, communication, exploitation, project coordination and quality management, and ethic requirements. The main philosophy of the project, the main objective of the project, is to develop new products, equipments, and technology, which will be validated during 7 use cases, which we organize in different countries. These are the use case. Also in this project, we have to deliver more than 100 deliverables with a very large components. Like example, we have report of end user requirements, definition, evaluation of S&R governance model, development of FISIO DSS components, S&R training system, component interface specification for interoperability within S&R. This is a short analysis of the use case. We have, like I told you, 7 use cases. Use case 1, victim trapped under rubble, organized in Italy. Use case 2, plane crash, mountain rescue, non-urban in Greece. Earthquake and heavy storms in Austria and Germany. In fact, in the nearby the border, Austria and German border. Forest fire expanded and threat of an industrial zone in Greece. Victims trapped under rubble in France. Resilient support for critical infrastructure through standardized training on CBRN in Romania. Chemical substances spill in Spain. More details about this use case you can find in our deliverable 8.2 to 8.8. For example, just to give you an example, the first use case, which will be organized in Trapani, in Sicily, and you can find in deliverable 8.2, which is public, you can find more details about location, scenario, and very important equipments and technology which will be used during the exercise. Because as I told you, this exercise finally have to validate, to test equipments from this slide. As I told you, 20 equipments and technology will be developed in this project, and according to European Commission requirements, also we have to improve the technology readiness level. You can find in this slide all the equipment, smart glasses and AR helmets developed by Shimavi, emergency communication application, 6 gas hazmat monitor, advanced augmented reality technologies, wearable GPS tracker, wearable ECG EMG, wearable strain sensor, emergency response health condition monitoring device, radiation sensor, rescue drones, artificial intelligence service on the top of rescue drones, rescue robots and autonomous vehicles, chemical sensor, Concord EMS and advanced module services, decision support system, training through AR, VR, virtual reality, smart textile professional uniform, rescue system for children, 3D mixed reality command center, voluntary registration and operationalization application. You can see in this table also the technology readiness level at the beginning of the project and what they should reach at the end of the project. In the next minutes, I would like to present you some information, more detailed information about some equipments. Smart glasses, which will be developed by Shimavi. The technology was developed by Microsoft. Actual level, technology readiness level is 4. They have to reach 6. In almost all cases, this TRL represents the end of true system development. Example includes development, test, and evaluation of the system in its intent control system to determine if it meets design specification. Supporting information includes the result of testing the system in its final configuration under the expected range of environmental conditions in which it be expected to operate. Assessment of whether it will meet this operational requirement. What were the plans, options, or action to resolve problem before finalizing the design? Multipurpose UAV with a beginning of TRL 6 to be reached TRL 8. Available to us are 2 drones from Dronematics. One is Jacob, a semi-autonomous battery-powered drone that is launched from a docking station. The second is Titus, a treated drone, and docking station connected via a cable and pulley system providing power and data exchange. Rescue system for children. It's about a concept of a baby carrier which be able to transport a baby during the transportation disaster. The sense of the baby, this carrier have to monitor also his health parameter. If necessary, the carrier can lock the baby inside during a transportation disaster, ensuring a controlled and protected atmosphere. The baby carrier device will aim to transport the baby and to protect him during a transportation disaster. The carrier can keep the baby in a safe and correct position, stimulating the sense of the baby and monitor his health parameters. If necessary, the carrier protects the baby both from high and low temperature, ensuring a protective environment. The next technology is 3D Mixed Reality Command Center. This is an exclusive module will allow for interactive rescue team and multi-user support, direct communication, and commandment with 3D mixed reality visualization capabilities, commandment and communication with emergency response service, and following capabilities. Stereoscopic 3D interactive with multi-user support, image registration for presentation heterogeneous data sources and information, example JES, satellite imaging, live camera and thermal camera feed from drones and rescuers, fire development information from survey drones and helicopters, rescue units and rescue people, position and condition presentation, distress call position and information presentation. Another technology which has to be developed during our project is artificial intelligence from TRL 6 to TRL 8. This, sorry. For search and rescue, we have to implement an artificial intelligence reference with a very strong learning detection algorithms. One of them is object detection, which is a computer vision technique that allows us to identify and locate objects in an image or video. Object detection allows us to at once classify the types of things found while also locating instances of them within the image. Next equipment is chemical sensors developed by National Technical University of Athens. It's about mass spectrometry. It's a method for chemical analysis, measuring masses in gas, liquid, or solid state. Membrane inlet mass spectrometry, MEMS, works by creating ions from neutral atoms and molecules and separating them according to their mass to charge ratios. MEMS offers high sensitivity, low PPT, fast and accurate analysis, minimizing the false alarm and with no samples preparation requirement. It can be used from both simple and multi-component mixtures simultaneously. Volunteer application is also another technology to be developed during the project. During a disaster situation, the number of volunteers would like to help. These volunteer workforces have to be in accordance with regular staff members and relief units. In addition, for an efficient and fast resources and mission planning, there is the need for precise and resilient data of the affected area. His task will investigate the processes, procedures, and communication framework to involve volunteer organization, for example, doctors, paramedics, volunteer groups, and so on. It will also take into account the use of mobile applications, social media, and other software, which enables an efficient management of volunteers. This application will be developed by CERT. That's all from my side. I will give the floor. I kindly ask our colleague Josif Klavidis to present also some other technologies. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Alexandru. Hello, this is Yusuf. Can I share my screen? Okay, just give me a second. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Hello everyone again. This is Yosif Slavidis from Untitled. I'm going to supplement Alexandru's presentation by giving you a brief overview of the SAR technologies in emergency operations, especially on components behind the final platform. In order to make this presentation more understandable, we have to go first in the operational level of things. So, when an incident occurs, the person who detects it calls the command center. This caller gives the first details on the occurring incident to the experts. The next move is on the command center and the high commander to log in to the Concord platform and take advantage of its EMS features in order to orchestrate the whole operation. So the high commander fills in a form with the first details from the caller and requests from the organizations subscribed to Concord and their users to attend the emergency site. These users are divided into firefighters, medical experts, triage runners, retrievers, volunteers, among others. A few seconds after the call, the first actors arrive on site. In Concord platform terms, these users are the field commander who orchestrates the incident from the site, PSAP, who stands for Public Safety Answering Point. PSAP has the role of updating the situation of the emergency by requesting the bed's capacity for the emergency patients. This request is made on the nearest hospitals and to the hospital commander, that is another Concord user. So, in order to achieve this, the field commander has already sent the rescuers to face the incident. The incident may be one of the use cases that Alexandru presented before. The runners to detect the patient's position, and finally the retrievers to transfer the patients to the ambulances. And now is the point where SAR technologies are involved in the operation. All the products that Alexandru presented before constitute crucial equipment that help the rescuers to update the SAR platform with detections of chemical exposures, videos by drones detecting victims, health monitoring devices detections, obstacles detections for autonomous vehicles, among other equipment. All these crucial data are consumed in real time by the SAR platform with aim to increase the situational awareness on every possible aspect of the field operation, and finally enhance the decision-making of every involved actor in the emergency scene. To achieve this, a set of back and front-end technologies have been developed with the aim to build a powerful interoperability framework able to strengthen the overall operation. A picture of the adaptation of the technologies is depicted in this data flow diagram, where the field technologies such as smartwatches, chemical sensors, rescue MIMs, drones, and others are communicating via Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to first responder smartphones in order for their data to be integrated in a message broker, an integration platform. This approach allows the SAR operations to retrieve heterogeneous data in real time to a data lake ecosystem where data modeling, data filtering, and data aggregation processes are applied. The overall objective, is to prepare the data, meaning process this data into a homogeneous format, and yet further processing by AI algorithms, situational awareness services, and decision support systems. After that point, this knowledge is consumed by the SAR platform and the applications that frame it. Concord, that you heard me mention before, is the main platform that orchestrates the emergency both on technical and operational level, with its EMS features such as the incident management, the organization management, user management, patient management, event log, and notification services, which all these are empowered under a centralized architecture with data coming from the field with the aim of raising the awareness, meaning what is happening, who is involved, and other key aspects that represent an emergency situation, and giving accuracy in a life-saving parameter such as the decision-making. All the information technologies are promising a well-orchestrated crisis management through the evolved products on the field, as long as elimination of human life danger, in order to protect every aspect of the operation and every actor, of course. And that's all from me. Thank you all. I give the floor to Jean.
Thank you, Joseph. I think we're a bit ahead of schedule. So, Christos, maybe we could have a Q&A.
Yep. Right. So we do have one first question, which is from Gelmini Remy. From,
yeah, I think Remy, you can actually you can unmute yourself and ask the question out loud if you don't mind. He's not there anymore. So yes, you can read the question,
all right,
Christos, please.
So this is a question for Alexandru. Lessons learned from other projects show that HoloLens 2 is not fit for operational conditions like smoke, light, heat, incompatibility with a helmet. So it's okay for proof of concept and training purposes, but not for operational activities. So HoloLens 2 is also okay for command center for holographic representation as well. So the question is, how do you consider the use of the HoloLens to be compatible with the tasks for search and rescue operations?
Can you repeat, Christos? I didn't understand very well the question.
Yes, the question is about the use of HoloLens 2. Since Remy says that it's not fit for operational conditions due to smoke, light, heat, incompatibility with a helmet, and that it's all right for as a proof of concept for training purposes, but not for operational activities. So the question has to do with how we intend to use HoloLens in the project, and that he also notes that it's okay for command center and center for holographic representation of that as well. So the question is how we intend to use it.
We have to check because we have 7 use cases, and we have to check in which use case we have the condition to use HoloLens.
All right, we'll open the floor to the rest of the project partners for this.
From Simavis.
Yeah, is Bogdan here?
Yes, he's here.
Bogdan?
You can unmute yourself, Bogdan, if you're here.
Or maybe not. It's unfortunate we do not have the right person to answer the question here. Is Gabriela here?
Yes, I am here.
Oh, hello.
Hello, I speak very bad English.
No, I didn't mean it's. Don't worry about it. It's for Gabriela from Simavi, so it wasn't intended for you, Gabriel. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we leave that for the beginning of the next session because we don't seem to have somebody who is actually implementing it to give a concrete reply on how it's going to be used. All right. Any other questions that you would like to address regarding the project and its results and the presentation you just saw? All right, we'll take.
I'm sorry, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Did you ask a question about the Microsoft HoloLens?
Yeah.
I got disconnected and reconnected right now.
Sorry.
But I didn't hear the reply or the answer to not even the whole question, but I heard the word HoloLens.
We didn't. We don't have someone that we found from Simavi currently in the meeting to reply. So we don't have a reply yet. So the full question has to do, and Remy, we are going to address it. It has to do with the use of HoloLens. Because Remy says that it's not fit for operational conditions, and so it's affected by smoke, light, heat, incompatibility with the helmet, etc. And it works all right as a proof of concept for training purposes, but not for operational activities. So,
okay. Thank you. So just in relation to this, I'm not involved in the work of Simavi, so I could not answer for them. But just because we are also using the Microsoft HoloLens glasses in the 3D mixed reality command center in the field, just mention that we know that this is also used by the US Army in field operations. But the difference in our case is that it doesn't have to be involved in the actual where like the action is, like where the firefighter, for instance, is involved in the fire trying to extinguish the fire. It can be located a little more remotely and still communicate by receiving messages from or videos from the field, from drones, from robots, but still can be in a safer place and can communicate these messages back to the decision support center. So this is the way we are going to use it in the field operations, not per se within the fire, but in a safer place where it is not going to be affected by these extreme field conditions. Just to mention this, if it helps.
Let me add here, this is Josip from KT, that mainly it's going to be used by the command center. This will be the safe place that Mr. Bernekus said before, and this is for orchestrating purposes, in order to enhance the situation awareness, and then give actions to the field. Thank you.
Thank you. I see that Bogdan from Simavi has just connected.
Hello, yes.
Yeah, so the question goes again to you. So to recap, it has to do with HoloLens 2, and if there is a need to adapt it to operational conditions, so that it's not affected by smoke, light, heat, or incompatibilities with a helmet. We have the replies already regarding its use for the command center. So I would like to also add something to the question. Is there a requirement or a need to fortify it for use for the use as we have it in the project? Is there any way that it may be more relevant to go into areas where it may be damaged, so that it ends up requiring fortification? What's the case with that?
So just to clarify things a bit, because I've seen we were on a lot of tasks that it sounds like we are developing the helmets. No, we are just using Microsoft HoloLens product as it is. It has some standard environment requirements, and we need to address them. We cannot interfere on the exact hardware that Microsoft provides. We are not. We are just providing the software. So
Right.
to clear things up, this is the official stand.
Irrespective of how we use it, would it make sense if we had a fortified version of the HoloLens?
I'm not really sure how we can have a fortified version, even if we plan and need this. Because
in theory,
we can,
in
theory, to address the exact project needs in a real-time environment, not just for prototyping and showcasing the capabilities, I think we might need a special helmet developed to withstand heat and stuff like that. But
so would the HoloLens have any use case where it could go in a zone where it may be affected from extreme heat or smoke?
No, it cannot stand extreme heat. It just for I will talk about the scenario in our project. So for the terrorist attack in Tuzla airport, a real use case will be having it in the tower, in the airport tower. So, and also the medical team can have just to discuss directly with the tower and better coordinate themselves. With the first responders, the construction of the glasses do not allow you to put a mask on top. At least the existing and based on the discussion that I had with the partners from Romania, the mask doesn't allow you to put anything on it, and the mask isn't allowing also to have the goggles under it. So I think these are the limitations.
Tom is also asking about connectivity with 3G and 4G.
Yes, it's available to connect on wireless networks. This can be addressed by having internet connection, an open wireless connection somewhere. It can be also the phone itself. It doesn't have a SIM card within.
We also implemented use cases for creating that connectivity if it's lost for any reason. Remy says, thanks, Bogdan. I share your idea that we need a specific helmet to withstand heat, smoke, etc. The idea is to deconstruct the hardware to make it fit for your purpose, extreme conditions, don't you think? So there is a possibility that we in a project, a prototype could be created to make it fit into the project, but we have to manually
Yes,
go
maybe
into the
yes,
hardware.
maybe some partners that have this kind of capabilities, yes, they might be able to deconstruct HoloLens to headset, but
it would still require further shielding, external shielding and testing, but I don't think it's something that isn't particularly feasible. All right, thank you for the two questions. We also have a question from Marta Pacheco, if I'm not mistaken the pronunciation, that if we could have a concrete example of the use of the chemical sensor, and I suppose this refers to the rescue memes, if I'm not mistaken. Do we have Sofia Karma here?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Sofia.
So may I answer or
Yes,
Alexander? Okay, great.
So Sofia Karma is also from NTUA, the Chemical Engineers Department, and is managing the development of the rescue memes, the chemical sensor in this case.
Okay, thank you, Christos. So our device is going to be tested in two different scenarios. The first one has to do with the location of entrapped victims under rubble, which means that there will be a victim, someone role-playing the victim, and our device, which is a portable one and can be carried by the rescuer, can be deployed in the disaster scene, and with a sampling probe that can penetrate the ruins, we can measure some key components that have been recorded in literature as relevant to human presence, in order to provide with alarms of life, let's say, under the rubbles, and of course, not to exclude the rescue dogs from the search and rescue operation, but just to be compatible and a technology that can be as together with the conventional ones. So this will be the one application. The other application has to do with the use of our device for the safety of the first responders, in terms of having an early warning system. And for this will be mounted on a ground platform. It will be a UGV, a robot provided by another partner in the project named DFKI. So the device will transmit chemical data that will record online during the field trial, where there will be a simulation of an industrial fire in an open field in Greece. If you have any other questions, I am at your disposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Sofia. Any other open questions?
Marta, you are welcome. Okay, I think Marta has another question. Christo, may I answer or later?
Certainly, but I think she. Right, she sent that. Okay, so the question is, what is the added value of the system compared to the use of rescue dogs?
Yes, Christos, may I answer?
Sure.
Okay, great. So in fact, Marta, recently we had some field trials with canines in Greece, in Kalamata, with our colleagues from the Hellenic Rescue Team, the HRT. We have run some experiments trying to create possible chemical mixtures that resemble human under rubble in terms of expired air, emanation from the skin, and I can provide you details later on if you wish. And of course, there is a deliverable that I think Christos is public, so Marta can have access and see more details on this. So the idea was to confirm with the rescue dogs which are the chemicals that they recognize as indicators of human under rubble. In that prospect, we will choose the chemicals that will be used for testing and validation of our system, first of all, lab scale, and then in real conditions during the demonstrations. Thank you.
I've also posted the deliverable for the design of the rescue memes in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So there's still the discussion between Remi and Bogdan about the industrial version of the Hololens. Can you bring that discussion to the floor for everyone as well?
Yes, there is a separate industrial version of the Microsoft HoloLens, but after a quick analyze, I'm not even that headset is compatible with the requirements of the project in terms of fire and temperature requirements. I've just put on the chat also the hardware and technical specifications that can be further detailed there.
Mm-hmm. All right, great. Thank you for that. Any other questions? All right. I think if we have something else that will come up, we also have the sessions that will be in 1 hour. So we'll end this session 7 minutes earlier, and that will let you have a break for 1 more hour, and then we'll reconvene at 1 hour and 7 minutes from now.
Christos, I see that there is a last question in the
There is.
Yes.
I didn't.
That is why I'm sorry to intervene. I saw a question concerning the PPE, the personal protective equipment.
Yep.
So may I
Sure.
make a comment here? Okay, great. So I will speak about the two pilots that our device will be tested, but I think this is valid for all the pilots. Not I think, I'm sure, that all the necessary safety concerns. So you mean the clothing? Okay, so regarding the personal protective equipment to be used for the pilots, that everybody that will be there, it is certainly that all the means will taken in order to safely proceed and execute the trial. Regarding the uniform, I think UNIFI colleagues could answer, Christos, if someone from UNIFI will be here, is here.
Part of the project is also the creation of protective uniforms. So if we have somebody from UNIFI here, they can take the question with details on it.
Yes, hello everybody, it's Marta from UNIFI.
Hello, Marta.
I don't know what Suzanne wanted to know about the clothing.
Just a couple of statements regarding the protection they provide and any special considerations in comparison to, with other uniforms.
Okay, so we are developing a new performance and protective uniform for the first responder. The uniform is implemented with some sensors which can monitor the health parameters of the first responder, and moreover with some sensors that can detect some relevant condition of the environment, such as we have an X-ray sensor, and also we have the 6 gas hazmat monitor. Regarding the textile, we are going to use an innovative ecological textile, which have all the certification like a Nomex, for example, but it's more ecological and sustainable, and also breathable and stretch. Moreover, we are working on colors in order to have highly visibility for the first responder. And in this case, we are also working on the high visibility elements in order to improve also these aspects. I don't know how to say, the uniform will be water repellent, and also has a mid chemical resistance. It's not, the uniform isn't a specific uniform against fire or maybe a CBRN environment, but it's a general one, and in some scenarios, the first responder has to put additional protective equipment to be more safe. I don't know if
yes,
I answered.
yes, that's fine. I think. Thank you. I hope we covered Suzanne's question. Thank you. All right. So we'll have the break now, I suppose, if you don't have any other questions, and we'll be back in 1 hour to go into the presentations for the shared experiences in Germany and Greece regarding the floods in Germany and the wildfires in Greece during the summer of 2021. Right. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you again in 1 hour. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon. We'll wait 1 or 2 more minutes for letting people joining us. So, as I said, very good afternoon to all of you. I'm really pleased to welcome you for this part 2 of the Search and Rescue Project webinar that will be on experience sharing on search and rescue operation during recent disaster in Europe. So my name is Marie-Christine Bonamour from Public Safety Communication Europe. We are a forum which is gathering practitioner, industry, and researcher, and we are partner in search and rescue projects. So climate change is more noticeable every year. Consequences are already here. Natural disasters are increasing both in frequency and intensity. So this afternoon we will focus on fire and flooding that have heavily impacted Europe in 2021, most focusing on the event during the summertime. Regarding fires, there is a clearly observable trend that shows higher levels of fire danger, longer fire season, and intense, fast-spreading mega fires. During the presentation, you will see also a focus on the Elvia island, who was devastated by fire during the summer, but also by flooding in October and affected by mudslide, and that's a consequence also of the fire. Regarding flooding, we all remember the summer events that affected Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, and the death toll was extremely high. Nobody could have predicted such a number of dead people. I think we are around 240 people in these countries. And we know that we will have more flooding caused by heavy rainfalls in the coming years. So I will stop this introduction, and we should now listen to the presentation from practitioners who will share with us their experience when having to manage this crisis. So I will give just a few remarks about the rules for conducting our webinars. If you were there this morning, you already heard them, but video and presentations will be circulated after the event. Participants are all muted on entry. Of course, we want to have interaction with you, so please write your questions under the chat and indicate to whom you address them, so to the speaker that they are directed to. And in order to save some capacity for this webinar, we kindly ask non-speaker to turn off their camera. So without dealing this any further, I would like to give the floor to our first speaker from SAR, so International Search and Rescue Germany, Mr. Stefan Bayer, who will present us a search and rescue operation during floods in Germany during this summer. So, Stefan, the floor is yours.
Hello from my side, and thank you for the participation in this webinar, this fantastic webinar. Unfortunately, my time is very limited, so I have to leave in an hour. But first, I want to present our operations during the floods we had in summertime in Germany. And as I see, we have a second later from the German Red Cross. But first, please let me allow to introduce ISAR Germany, because we are not part of this project. We are very similar to our colleagues from PUI. ISAR Germany stands for International Search and Rescue from Germany, and we are also an NGO with approximately 150 volunteers. We are all experts from the fire brigades. We are professional dog handlers, nurses, physicians, logistics experts, and so on. And we are deploying our team to all natural disasters, like earthquake. That's a typical scenario for us, but also to man-made disasters like Beirut last year, and also to pandemics and epidemics. All our deployments are voluntary deployments in Germany and also in the world. And we have no financing from Germany, so our financing based on donation sponsoring and projects like the Search and Rescue project. We have 4 fields of activities. We are an urban search and rescue team and also a medical team. And we are part of the civil protection in Germany, and it's mainly in North Rhine-Westphalia. And after our international missions, we usually have a humanitarian project, so train the trainer project of fire brigades are all around the world and so on. We are proud to be an active member of the INSARAG, like PUI. We were the first medium team classified in 2007 and the first NGO, and we had 2 successful reclassifications in 2012 and 2017. And this means that we are working on the international level after the standards of the INSARAGs, and that we are able to work coordinated together with all the other teams. And on the other hand, we are a so-called emergency medical team classified by WHO since 2018 as an emergency medical team 1 fix. And this means that we are able to establish an emergency room in the disaster area, and we're able to treat 200 to 250 patients every day, also according to the international medical standards. And we have within this team also, we are proud on that, a specialized team, a specialized care team for the treatment of the babies, children, pregnant women, and mothers. We have a lot of international missions, just a few of them. We have 1 to 2 international missions, and our last mission was some months ago in Haiti after the earthquake. Last year we had many missions. You can see we had 4 of them. 3 of that 4 were COVID-19 missions based on the request from WHO. And then we had the user mission after the explosion in the port of Beirut. But also we are since 2010 part of the civil protection in North Rhine-Westphalia. And that means that we have a special platoon for dog search. We have special man-trailing dogs, and we have 50 to 80, sometimes 100 voluntary missions every year based on request from the police or the coordination center. And also we have special trained dogs for the search of dead bodies, which comes later to the flood. And also because we have many experts with major disasters, so also our team is deployed to major incidents. We are close to the Ruhrgebiet, so we have many industrial incidents and gas explosions, and also our team is deployed to floods, which will I explain now. And I forgot, of course, we are also an active member, an active end user in project like Search and Rescue. We are a member of the Ingenious project, of the Rescue project, and the Risk project. So we are also familiar with the job and the work you're doing within your project. So to the main topic of today, the floods in Germany. I was deployed to many disasters all around the world, to earthquakes, tsunamis, and so on. And I never expect to see that in Germany. I was deployed on Saturday morning first, and I told to my wife, see you this evening, when I was back 9 days later. And all the people, so I had some media interviews, they asked me, what's the difference between what happens in Germany during the floods and an earthquake area, and said, really, there's not a difference. We have the same damages, it smells same, it looks same. The only difference for me was at that time that I could speak German with everybody. Our team was 12 days on missions. We were on 4 locations, and we deployed over 40 team members and 10 K9 search dogs. Our first mission was in the valley of the River R, partner in Ahrweiler and in Dernau, on the weekend of the 17th and 18th of July, based on a request by the police of Rhineland-Palatinate. And there was a clear goal for that. It was the search for victims, and of course, after that extreme floods, it was the search for dead bodies. And this was the mission together with the Federal Police of Germany. So we had a joint team with the police and our dog handlers. And the mission was to have a complete search in an assigned sector for all the victims. So that means the search in the buildings and in open space with K9 dogs and search equipment. And finally, the opening of the assigned sector for the residents. So to make sure that there are no dead bodies, no more victims inside that sector when the residents will come. We deployed six specialized search dogs for dead body search with 11 team members and special cars with equipment. Some impressions, how it looks like and what was our job. It was really extreme. It was summertime, it was wet, and all the buildings, they were full of mud, full of garbage and rubbish, and it was hard for the team members and also for the dogs, but it was our job. And this, for example, is an old clinic. It was the basement of a 150, 200 years old building, but our job was to open that sector and to say, okay, there are no more victims, no more dead bodies inside. And also, together with the police, was the search for victims in the open areas. We had huge areas which were flooded, and most of the dead bodies were found in the open areas. And you can see the search of the dogs on the different spots, and also you can see 2 pictures. Unfortunately, yes, we were successful. We had, of course, we found some dead bodies, and we had some markings by our dogs, which found victims under the mud, under the rubble. And finally, I don't know how many, I think some 100 victims we had in that area, and it was really extreme. And of course, we used, besides the K9 dogs, all the technical search equipment we had. We used this search camp, as you can see here, in dangerous locations or areas where we are not able to go in or to send our dogs in. And this was really helpful for us to have that search equipment because this extends our search. If you look in the bridge, without that search camp, we were not able to search in the, under the bridge. So that was really helpful, and also this reduced the danger of our rescues. We also deployed a team with bioradars or geophones, but because of the kind of the disaster we had, just the search cam was used, so there was no sign by survivors or anything. The second location was in Erftstadt. You probably know we have the mission there for 5 days, and this was a request by the crisis management of Erftstadt and also by the building authorities. And we had 3 main missions, goals for our missions, of course, the search for the victims, and also in the science sector. So we had a sector very close to the brim, and this was in this sector, it was too dangerous to send in people to search for victims. So that's why we sent out our K9 dogs. We deployed 4 of them, which are specialized in rubble search, and they checked all the buildings if there are still people in or not. And finally, of course, the opening of the assigned sector for the authorities to tell them, okay, there are no more people in, there are no more dead bodies, no more victims in. So that sector is safe. And the second goal in Erftstadt was the building assessment. As a user team, and POI has that too, we have structural engineers. So we have experts for the assessment of damaged buildings, for the fast assessment. And we deployed to the Erftstadt 2 of that structural engineers, and they had in the assigned sector an assessment of all the buildings. So are the buildings are stable? Is the shoring needed? Is lifting or moving needed? And so on. This was the second goal, and the third goal in Erftstadt was, as an international urban search and rescue team, we have experts for the management of huge disasters. And we were asked by the Ministry of Interior from North Rhine-Westphalia to support the crisis management. And that's why we also deployed 2 of the experts who supported our colleagues in the crisis management. Here's some expressions. These are very close to the brim, and it's an extremely dangerous area. That's why we used our dogs. They are trained to work alone, so they are trained to go alone into buildings to search them, and they come out and give the dog handlers a sign if there's someone in or not. And this was really, really dangerous area. That's why they asked us as the experts to search there. The third location was in the valley of the River Wicht, so in Stolberg, Ficht, and Zweifall. We were there for 3 days. And this was also a request from the crisis management of Stolberg and also from the building authorities. And we had 2 missions. This was the assessment of the buildings and of the bridges. So we deployed 12 team members and 3 of our structure engineers for buildings. And we also deployed a special structure engineer plus 1 in training for the assessment of the bridges. Altogether, we assessed 38 buildings, also buildings which were affected by the floods, and also 25 bridges. And in the river valley, we used also 2 drone teams. Here's some expressions, what we're talking about. It was really like in an earthquake area. We had completely destroyed or collapsed buildings. We had partly destroyed or collapsed buildings, and we had many buildings with underwash. So it was, I saw a lot in the past, very extreme for me to see that. And what we did, of course, we checked the buildings from outside and also inside, if the buildings are stable. As I said, is a shoring needed? If it's possible to send the residents in to take their clothes and so and out, is a moving necessary, is a shifting necessary, and so on. That's what we did with our special trained structural engineer for that kind of situations. And also, not only for the buildings, also for the bridges, and it was important. And it was very helpful that we could deploy a special engineer for the bridges. And for the assessment of the bridges and the buildings, we used drones, and on that mission, small drones from DJI. And this was very useful because these drones were able to provide real-time images and views from the affected buildings and the bridges. And also we provided 3D surface models for the building authorities. And this was, on the one hand, the only chance to have a complete assessment of the buildings and the bridges, because we're talking about an old city and an affected area, so many parts of the buildings and the bridges were not visible. And with the drones, our engineers, as you can see on the right side, and they were able to check all the sites from the buildings and the bridges and also from under the bridges. So the use of drones, the use of the technology, you probably have also in the search and rescue project improved our assessment. So it was faster and also it reduced the danger of the rescue. So for example, if you wanted to check the bridges without the drones, then you have to use the rope work and so on, and this takes a lot of time. So the use of that kind of technologies for the assessment of the building assessment was really helpful. And for us, it was not the first time. So we used it also in Mexico 3 or 4 years ago after the earthquake there for the same applications. And finally, our last location was again in the valley of the Bavard in Bad Neuenahr. You can say it was ASR 5 concerning to the INSARAG assessment search and rescue level, was based on the request of the crisis management of the area, and it was the clearance of 2 sectors from the bulk waste. So there we deployed a lot of team members, 27. So we deployed in very close collaborations with Leonard Weiss Construction Company, 2 wheel loaders, 5 excavators, 3 dump trucks, 1 tractor, and so on, to clean the area. And it was important because, as you can see, after that event, there was a lot of bulk waste on the streets, and the streets were blocked. They were blocked for police, they were blocked for fire brigades, and so on. And that's why it was important. It was also full of food, full of rats and so on, to clean the city as soon as possible. And therefore, we used the technologies and also the people, our team members, to clean that as soon as possible. So that's from my side. Thank you very much for the chance to speak to you.
Thank you for this presentation. I don't know. Oh yes, so I see that there is one question in the chat. Were the destroyed buildings made of wood, stone, cement, or mixed? It is unbelievable what damages you found. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that it was like an earthquake. So yeah.
We had all kind of buildings. We were in different locations, and we had very old buildings. So we had 200 years old buildings, and it was the first event who destroyed buildings with big stones as a fundament, but also new buildings were destroyed. All different kind of buildings really were affected by the floods. We saw everything, old buildings and new buildings which were destroyed.
Yeah, thank you, Maria, for this question. I have another question, so that's from me. But because you mentioned the usefulness of the drones for your mission, I have another question. If you could have other tools, what could be the new tools that would help you for future operation? Because you are involved in research projects, so you know the technologies that are being developed that are not maybe mature enough now, but if you could choose, which one could be really useful to enhance your capacity?
All tools, it's quite easy, which makes our job more efficient. That means faster, that we are able to find victims faster, and also which makes our job safer. So these are the 2 points which are, for me, I'm the team leader of the team, of the user team, of the EMT, are really important. So all the technologies for the assessment. So we have special drones for the assessment, which are able to fly in to assess the building from inside, especially a building which is partly destroyed, so which is extremely dangerous to send the team members in. If you have technologies, robots, drones, whatever, who can do the assessment inside the building for you, it's really helpful. And also we use bioradar, we use search cam, geophone, and so on. All the technologies, the new technologies which are currently under development to find the cell phones and so on, are additional technologies for us to find and to localize victims. This is really helpful. Yeah. So on the one hand, and on the other hand, all what makes our job safer. So gas sensors and so on, sensors for CBRN, whatever, or sensors which showing us, okay, there's a movement of the buildings and so on. This is also helpful for our operations.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think that these two criteria are really the key ones. Thank you. But then we can move to the next presentation.
I see that there are 2 additional questions. Since we have 5 more minutes, maybe we can.
Yes, of course. So there is a question from Philippe Besson from Pompiers de l'Urgence Internationale. Did you have difficulties with hazmat during your operation?
We are lucky now. So
you should indicate what is hazmat.
Yeah, I know that. I know what Philip means. Luckily not.
Okay. Then there is another question. When searching, did local fire services understand and use the INSARAG model markings?
That's a good question. Unfortunately, I have to say no. And I see really no INSARAG markings during that disaster. So because the marking of the INSARAG, so all the INSARAG teams know that, and during an earthquake event with many international INSARAG teams, it's useful. But in that case, I think Wildfire was there, and THW members were there, and we. So as far as I know, that most of the firefighters, they don't know the INSARAG markings, so no.
Okay. Is that something that would improve? I mean, to have the possibility to better cooperate, to implement this kind of procedures? I cannot hear you, so sorry. I think you are muted. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't understand your last question. The connection was bad.
Okay, so do you think that the implementation of such marking models would improve also cooperation with your national authorities, like the local fire?
Yes, of course, because we had more than one time during our assessment that the residents said, okay, you're not the first team. So members from fire brigades or THW already checked or assessed that building. And if you had that marking, yes, of course, it would be helpful. And if they use that marking for us, it's important if you're on the field, then you know they are working after the same standards, after the same guidelines. And then you can say, okay, if they marked it, then you can say it was marked after our standards, after our guidelines, and then we can check the next building. Yes, it would be very helpful.
Okay. So thank you, Stephen, for this. I'm just checking if there is no. Okay. There was a clarification on the meaning of hazmat, so it was to everybody. Okay, thanks a lot. Then I think that we can move to the next presentation. Thank you, Stephen, for your talk. We'll have a presentation about external aid on search and rescue operation against wildfire in Greece. So it's a joint presentation from 2 of our partners in search and rescue. So I think it will be Pompiers de l'Urgence Internationale, Eliana and Philippe, who will start to present their intervention in Greece. And also, I think you worked with Epomea.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Can you
Thanks,
see the
Diana.
presentation as well?
Yes, but it's not in full screen mode.
No full screen. Okay, but now you can see it. Okay, this is Ileana Corma. Good evening. I represent Pompiers de l'Urgence Internationale based in Limoges, France, which means International Firefighters. We are partners in the Search and Rescue Project. And I will introduce you my colleagues. Philippe Besson is the president of Pompiers de l'Urgence Internationale. He is going to speak to you about the situation faced in Greece when the French team came to help in Greece this last summer in August. And Angeliki Apostolaki is the representative from Epomea. Epomea is a Greek rescue team. Yes?
We can hear you, Diana.
Okay. What I wanted to say is that Angeliki, even though she's very young, she's a very experienced trainer in Epomea and a volunteer. Epomea is a Greek NGO with 18 branches in whole Greece. The full name is Elite Special Missions of Greece. And she's going to describe the situation in Greece. So let's say we will be 3 speakers in this presentation. So here you will see a little bit the situation, how it was in August when the fire was starting in the island of Elvia. The agenda for the today meeting is what is EVOL-SAR. EVOL-SAR is an association that I'm going to speak to you in a while. We're going to analyze the status and the fires that took place in Greece last summer. The donation, the special donation from Pompiers de l'Urgence Internationale in Epomea, and the evaluation and the assessment of the whole mission that took place in Greece. So, EVOL-SAR is an European association of civil protection volunteer teams, which started in 2014. With a very few teams taking part in the beginning. And now this association has 10 countries involved and 16 teams included. Some countries, which I remember is Greece, France, UK, Serbia, Cyprus, Italy. The presidents of EVOL-SAR is the Italian partner as well, Mr. Pasquale Pipicelli. And we have Serbia, Cyprus, and some more. So the aim is to help the one team the other and be able to participate in the disasters that take place in each country. The team has all the teams, let's say, are specialized with their expertise, and there we have the user teams, the K9, the rope rescue teams, etc. Sometimes of the year, mainly 2 or 3 times, there are joint training exercises that take place, and they are organized by each team in each country, in order to harmonize the operational procedures as much as possible. Epomea, GR, and PUI France are members of this organization. That is why PUI had the chance, let's say, for the Greeks to come and help in last August. So you will see the whole teams here. Portuguese as well, because I forgot to mention Portugal. So, regarding the analysis of the status, I think Angeliki will start analyzing a little bit the situation of Greece.
Thank you.
Can you hear us, Angeliki?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Good evening.
To everyone.
Angeliki, if you could try to speak a bit louder, because we can hear you, but it's very remote.
So, operated at the fires in India. But always two teams and two descriptions for status. General thing about this is that have suffered this year we most
Iliana,
Yes.
could you help, because it's almost impossible
Yes.
to.
Angeliki, we cannot hear you. I will start the analysis and then you can continue if you want. Okay. Okay. So the problem is that. The problem is that the region, the island of Evia is the second one in Greece, the biggest one, and there are too many inhabitants there in the region. There was drought established for several months because there was no rain since April. Can you imagine? Because the fire took place in August, so we speak for many months of drought. There was intense heat in the last 30 years. We faced in Greece temperatures with 45 and more degrees, with a humidity less than 30%. The winds were from 4 to 5, with gusts up to 10 seconds. The fire created its own wind and caused cumulus clouds of heat. Dense and high flammable vegetation, this was a huge problem as well to face. The plant water and content, and of course there was no management of flammable massif, plus the consequences of the previous storms. As I told you before, it was the heat in Greece were extremely high that summer. I think in many European countries as well. 56,000 of hectares were burned in 10 days. We had 586 simultaneous fires throughout the whole country. There was systematic evacuation of the population. Can you imagine? It's not so easy to try to convince these people to leave their homes, because we mainly speak for villages and poor people who couldn't, you can see from the images as well, from the photos down. I mean, it was not so easy to convince them to leave their house and leave. Anyway, the local emergency services were overwhelmed, and of course they were exhausted because they were coming to Athens and then to Evia and then to Crete and then to the whole Greece. And finally, Epomea, which managed to take part in many fires, had to request for assistance within the framework of EVOLSAR from the international firefighters who respond them directly. Actually, Philippe, sorry to say, and the firefighters from Pui were the ones who kept asking to provide their aid in Greece. We were a little bit, in Greece, they were a little bit late to ask for this help, but anyway, something we managed at the end. So you will see here, there is a huge series of, this is Epomea's headquarters in Athens, and you will see how they prepared the whole, let's say, situation in order to go and visit the island to help. There were too many vehicles, association firefighters, Franco-Hellenic teams that took the road to go, and all the transport made by ferry. So you will see some pictures here. And after 1 hour of the ferry, all the equipment arrived to the island of Elvia. So you will see the tents were had to be there in order for the people to be able to sleep somewhere. There was a base of operation installed on the beach. The environment, which was already saturated with smoke, and the first briefing with the Greek firefighters for the engagement. And here I would like to pass the floor to Philip, who is very experienced. He is responsible to tell you about the situation faced in the island of Elvia.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I'm Philippe from PUI France. In the last picture, you have seen the base of operation, because in the base of operation we set up a medical post for the firefighters, but for the population too, to assist people who need assistance. The next, please. Yes, so this is the different vehicles on the ferry to go from Athens to Elvia. And on this slide, you can see the medical post, because in the team of PUI, we engage professional and volunteer firefighters, but one doctor to assist firefighters and people in the area. And we have decided, with the agreement of the firefighters of Greece, two parallel actions. The deployment of the PUI and EPOMEA team together to stop the outbreaks of fire, and the medical post to assist firefighters of Greece, of EPOMEA, and for the population. The next, please. The fires are very difficult to access, and the team members must use the last. No. Yes, thank you. And the team members must use portable equipment to fight the fire in the mountain and in the forest. Next. To complete the assistance, PUI decide in Athens to do first, to offer one forest fire truck to complete the capacity of EPOMEA. So the forest fire truck is coming from Limoges by road to Athens, and it is a donation to EPOMEA organization. And we have decided to complete the training of the EPOMEA team in forest fires, in the maintenance for the truck, and exchange in operational experiences between Greece and France. This is the truck in donation for EPOMEA, and the training between France and Greece. The next. About the positive point, we had a very good collaboration with EPOMEA, and very good motivation of EPOMEA team members, and a very good logistics support from Greece, from the fire brigade or other teams from Greece. And about the points to improve, complexity for deployment during the night in the island of Elvia, but it is a normal situation, and not enough equipment adapted for forest fire, particularly for volunteers teams. They need special equipment and special trucks, because they use now the truck for fire in urban area, not in forest fire. So they need more support, and we will continue to support EPOMEA teams in Greece. The next. So thank you very much for your attention and for your participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Iliana, Philippe, and Angeliki. There is already one question in the chat about your intervention in Greece. Were satellite or drone or helicopter pictures used to get a broad overview of the affected areas, or to track evolution and changes of the situation of the fire?
Philippe, did you hear the question?
Yes, I think the team of EPOMEA had not access to these pictures, and they had not drones. So they have not information from satellite or helicopter.
So they were receiving information about the evolution of the fire from the local authorities. So yes, from the authorities.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see also that Radu from Proeco is also involved in this presentation. I don't know if you have things to add, Radu.
Radu, I just sent you a request to unmute yourself. Normally they should have a presentation.
Yeah. Radu, you need to unmute yourself.
Hello, I did, you know.
Hello, good afternoon. So, yes. So you can put your full screen.
Yes, but it's not working yet. Okay.
It's fine.
Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Radu Andriciu from Proeco, Romania, and I thank very much for the opportunity to make you a very synthetic presentation about the mission of the Romanian military firefighters in Greece regarding the wildfire in August this year. First of all, some historical remarks about our military firefighters. The first history document is about an intervention in 1847. It is in Bucharest, in our capital, of the Great Fire, and it was the big our intervention in history document that is mentioned. In the same time, in 1848, we have a revolution in Romania, like another country in Europe, and our military firefighters win battle against the Ottoman army in Speedy Hill. And from in this memory, this date become Military Firefighters Day in Romania, and we celebrate each year. But to understand better the Romanian soul, we don't celebrate the military victory, we celebrate the fact that our military firefighters do everything they can do in any situation, from war to a natural disaster, to protect the people of Romanian community. And here you see which is very important when we training our people. It is about ammoniac and ammonium nitrate. This case is a harbor in the city of Galați, near the Siret River, when a ship with Panamanian flag loaded with ammonium nitrate is burning. Then the military firefighters intervene, and of course they are helped by the volunteer these volunteers are the worker in the harbor. And this intervention is good because they allow us to pick up the ship and go in the deserted area of the Siret River, and then we let this ship to explode because we can't handle it with the fire. Then what is good that we have no human causality, and the material damage are very few in the Galach harbor and in the city, of course. The second case is about the ammonium nitrate. It is about a truck loaded with ammonium nitrate. It is on fire near a village called Mihailești, and the military firefighters intervene. They respect the procedure, but fortunately we don't have in this time a chemical sensor to tell us how much time was left until the explosion, when the explosion temperature was reached. And then because the explosion is about 2 minutes after our military firefighters were in the place, we have a lot of dead, injury, and a great number of property damage. But these one are two lessons that we learn about, and after that we make a huge investment in the equipment to not happen again. Then, regarding the wildfire in Greece, the first mission, it is in Spatari area in Elvia, Iceland. You can see the map and the area of intervention. And this you can see the equipment and technology that we are bringing there to fight with this wildfire. What is interesting is the drone. You use the drone, it is something usable in Romania to use in not only in firefighters and not only in the fire, but in this case, it was the first our occasion in a broad country to use the drone, which is something that is necessary because he gives you the operational situation in the disaster area. In this case, they give us information about the intensity and magnitude of the fire or the direction of the wind, the people who are evacuated, in which direction, and so on. You can see in this slide the main activity carried out. There are more, but the principle. From this, I want to make only one remark that the importance of the permanent contact with the Greek liaison officer and the local community. And what is interesting about the local community that our military firefighters were very impressed by the fact that these people come to our military firefighters and say how I can help you. Then that touched very much the soul of the Romanian firefighters because they are here to help, but in the same time, they see the people who do everything to pass this disaster. The second mission was in Attica area. It is, you can see now the new module that we go there, because in the first mission is one module, they go to Romania, and that is the second module. And you can see, if you analyze with the related slide that we increase not only the number of equipment that we can use, but also the quality of this equipment. And what is interesting that in this case, all the military firefighters are volunteer. In the first mission, it's not time to call volunteers from military firefighters, but in the second mission, we have a lot of volunteers, and we must choose because it's from 16 inspectorate for emergency situation from Romania. We have 28, and the 16 we choose the people in this intervention. The main activity more or less are the same. with the first mission because, but once again, the most important is the aerial reconnaissance of the affected area and determination of direction or air propagation using a drone. That give us very important information, because even we receive information from the local authority and other people, we have our self-sufficiency means to make an assessment of the situation. Then one of the lessons for us, for Romanian military firefighters, is that in this case, this kind of operation, we come in back in our country with a lot of experience, lessons learned, and we can improve our training skills and so on, and equipment. Then, of course, we go there to help people, but in the same time, indirectly, we help us from the future, because we have a lot of learn from this situation. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. It is something that you want to know more. We are available now, and if it's necessary, in the internet anytime you want. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Radu. From my side, thank you for your last message as well, saying that it's also good to help on each time that you intervene on your mission, you learn as well. So when you're improving your capacity and your knowledge. So that's a good final words for this operation. I have just one question from my side. You said that you were using your own drones on doing aerial reconnaissance. Did you share this information with also the locals or other volunteer organizations?
In this kind of operation abroad of the country, it is some procedure made by INSARAG, and we share this information with the Greek liaison officer. It is absolutely necessary to do that, and with the local civil protection Greek community. I mean, the chief of civil protection or the mayor or somebody who represents the community affected. And this is two kind of information that all time we give to the Greek liaison officer and the chief of the civil protection in the area, or the mayor, or whatever.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm just looking in the chat if there are some other questions. I think that the Greek people who are present with us are also very thankful for all the help they receive.
I want, if it's possible, I want to make one remark only that I forgot to say, but is in the slide, put it in the slide, that the using of the civil protection European mechanism is very good, because they short the time, we have enough information to intervene and so on, that we must improve this mechanism, because it's working very good. I give you one only few seconds example. We go in 2000 in Turkey. It is about the earthquake there, and because it's not working, okay, it's not European mechanism, they're not in UA, we'll lose a lot of time to decide where to go, how to go, and so on. And after many hours, we stay in the plane in the airport, and we contact directly the Turkish army, and everything is okay. We resolve the problem. Then the mechanism is very good because they short the time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Radu. I think that's very important, because we see all the efforts to reinforce the civil protection mechanism. Each time there are some reforms to improve it, and it has proven to be very useful. So it's also a demand from the European citizens to have this also intervention of the EU to facilitate response to crisis disaster. So thank you for this feedback. So now we'll continue to have information about the situation in Elvia Island. I would like to give the floor to EPAIPS. So EPAIPS is also Association of Hellenic Fire Corps in Greece, and they were directly involved also in the management of the fire. So Antonios and Jason, the floor is yours.
Hello from EPAIPS. I am Iason Aliferis, and I will proceed to my presentation. It's about the experience and lessons learned and activation of EU civil protection mechanism in the context of SAR operations in recent wildfires in Greece, especially, to be more specific, in Elvia Island. I would like you to welcome to EPAIP's presentation part 2 of the Search and Rescue Project's full-day workshop. Our presentation will cover the aspects of experience, lessons learned, and activation of EU civil protection mechanism in the context of SAR operations in recent wildfires in Greece. The presenters are Mr. Antonis Koukouzas and me, Iason Aliferis from EPAIPS. Okay. In this photo, we can see the despair of climate crisis. The photo of the elderly lady taken during the fires that devastated the north part of the island of Elvia, Greece, which was chosen as one of the 4 best photos of 2021 by Time magazine. In print, one of the worst faces of climate crisis. The EU Civil Protection Mechanism and the Rescue. The still ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the 2021 summer wildfires in Greece and elsewhere in Europe's southern rim, as well as the cataclysmic floods in Germany and Central Europe last June, with more than 1,000 casualties, have once again drawn the attention of the European public to the increasing need for a more effective and robust European civil protection mechanism. Such a mechanism would enhance societal resilience in the face of major crises and complement national authorities in their efforts to overcome natural or anthropogenic catastrophes of unprecedented magnitude and scale. The Union Civil Protection Mechanism constitutes of EU's response to such calls through the Rescue and the European Pool of Civil Protection Assets, the Rescue Reserve, especially in 1987, the permanent network of national correspondents in civil protection was set up to enable better collaboration and coordination. The agreement was indeed achieved in 1997 when the Council decision established a community action program in the field of civil protection. In October 2001, the Community Civil Protection Mechanism was established. The frequency with which the mechanism was activated after its establishment increased experience and generated a steep learning curve. It also highlighted the need for a major institutional and operational overhaul. The significant step was the creation of the Civil Protection Instrument, which provided for the sum of 133.8 million for 2007 to 2013, made available from the community budget for a variety of actions in the areas of emergency prevention, preparedness, and response. On December 2011, the Commission issued an official proposal for a decision of a Union Civil Protection Mechanism, which would be accompanied by a large increase in the budget devoted to civil protection both inside and outside the EU. Finally introduced in 2013, the new mechanism expanded the scope of EU's actions since it could be activated in the case of any serious disaster that endangered people, the environment, or cultural heritage. The biggest innovation was the creation of ERC in the form of predefined member states-owned units committed in a European civil protection pool. This pool would bring together resources from member states and participating states ready for development to a disaster zone at short notice, including rescue or medical teams, experts, specialized equipment, or transportation. New crisis called into question the sufficiency of UCPM as a mechanism for countering the EU's ever-increasing civil protection needs. The 2014-15 migration and refugee crisis put enormous pressure on the Union, which struggled to manage the immense humanitarian impact. The lack of available assets during 2016 and 2017 forest fire seasons also left the EU looking powerless and unable to react. Furthermore, there was a significant demand for the EU's humanitarian assistance service abroad, mainly in Africa, as a result of the Ebola outbreak in 2014 and the need to evacuate EU citizens from Yemen in 2015. The gaps in the community capabilities were also outlined by the capacity gaps report published in 2017, in which particular attention was paid to limited capacity in terms of airplanes, fight forest fires, and of shelter structures. European cooperation in the field of civil protection acquired greater legitimacy than ever before in the minds of European citizenry. Limitations in the available capabilities, coupled with the public endorsement of more cooperation in the field of civil protection, led the Commission to table a proposal in November 2017 for a new tool to reinforce the Union's collective ability to respond to disasters immediately and adequately. The Rescue Reserve. The Rescue Reserve constitutes a dedicated reserve of assets which, managed by the EU, could be activated when the existing capabilities at the national level or those committed to the European Civil Protection Pool were either insufficient or unavailable. In an emergency, the Commission, in close collaboration with a concerned member state or partner, decides for their deployment and mobilization. These capabilities are still acquired by the participating member states, but direct grants are provided to finance the procurement of additional equipment. The EU will also cover the 75% of the operational costs of deploying the Rescue Reserve capabilities. Commission President endorsed the new reserve tool, stressing that Europe is a continent of solidarity and we must be better prepared than before and faster in helping our member states on the front line. The Commissioner for Humanitarian Aid and Crisis Management, Christos Ilianidis, spoke of an investment in disaster response and described the Rescue Reserve as a safety net that strengthens European solidarity. The outbreak of COVID-19 provided another push towards civil protection cooperation. The next part about the forest fires in Europe will be presented by Mr. Koukouzas. Adonios.
Good afternoon from me. This is Antonis Koukouzas from EPIPES. We are glad that you all are here with us in such an important and significant webinar. I'll continue our presentation, speaking about forest fires in general in Europe. Forest fires are uncontrolled fires that occur in nature, often rendered more severe by climatic conditions. Long dry spells increase the risk of forest fires breaking out. There are factors that have a huge bearing on the scale of forest fires, such as weather conditions, the vegetation, the layout of the terrain. In 2020, forest fires severely affected the Amazon, Australia, the United States, even the Arctic. In addition, of course, to yearly European hotspots, such as the Mediterranean countries. Lives were lost, livelihoods destroyed, and many hectares of land burned. The fire risk is expected to further increase due to climate change. It will be increasingly characterized
Antonios, I think you are not sharing your screen, so if you could share your screen. We do not see your presentation.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
But if there is a problem, we can share it for you. Just tell us.
Yes, it would be better if you would share it.
Okay. Okay. Jean, can you share the presentation?
Yes. 1 second.
Thank you. So we will find the slide.
Is that the one?
Yes. Now we're at slide number 9, please.
Next one.
The previous one, 9, please.
Slide 9, yes.
Oh, 9.
Okay, thank you. The fire risk is expected to further increase due to climate change. Being characterized by lives longer recover. Between 2007 and 2020, 20% of all requests for assistance through the EU civil protection mechanism were in response to forest fires. When national response capacities are overwhelmed by fire intensity, the state can activate the EU civil protection mechanism to ask for a coordinated, rapid and effective international response. When fires of such magnitude occur, EU member states and participating states regularly show solidarity by sending assistance in the form of firefighting helicopters, firefighting equipment, and so on. At the operational heart of mechanism lies the European Commission's Emergency Response Coordination Center, the known ERCC. The center monitors forest fire risks and emergencies across Europe, supported by national and European monitoring services, such as EFIS, the European Forest Fire Information System. The center engages with national authorities from EU member states and participating states. The aim is to exchange information on the status of prevention, preparedness, and response activities and maintains close contact with national authorities throughout the forest fire season. Mediterranean countries, Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Greece, and Croatia are the most fire-prone countries in Europe, but recent events have shown that even northern European countries are not immune. The Copernicus Emergency Management Service produces satellite maps on demand to help national assistance to respond to forest fires. The EU supports and complements prevention and preparedness efforts of these states by focusing on areas where a joint European approach is more effective than separate national actions. These include risk assessments to identify the disaster risks across Europe, encouraging research to promote disaster resilience and reinforcing early warning tools. Prevention, preparedness, and response work hand in hand to save human lives and limit the further spread of fires. Having experienced forest fire experts, well-trained firefighters, technology, and other assets available near the location of action makes a difference. The EU Civil Protection Mechanism coordinates assistance and ensures that all EU member states participating states to the mechanism receive information in times of crisis and emergencies. Upon activation by any country worldwide, the mechanism ensures the rapid deployment of resources and personnel that are tailor-made to fit the needs of its emergency. We are in page in 12, please, in slide 12. Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I want to mention that fire season in Greece starts from the 1st of May and ends at the end of October, 31st of October. The catastrophic forest fires that hit Greece this year and the Mediterranean in general, and especially at the late July and at the first 15 days of August, are undoubtedly associated with fierce heat waves in intensity and duration recorded in Greece and the wider geographic region. The temperature increases during summer months may reach up to 3.4 degrees Celsius, mainly in southern Greece. Rainfalls decreases up to 30% during the summer months in many areas of Greece, mainly from central Greece and further south. Precipitation is also expected to decrease, although at lower rate during the winter months, which is perhaps of more concern as it has been statistically observed that in areas where precipitation is limited during the winter, forest fires are more devastating during the following summer. The reduction of soil moisture is significant throughout the country, although it is higher in Attica, the Peloponnese and Crete. To the above factors are added the estimates for the increase of intensity, frequency, and mainly the duration of the heat waves, that is, factors that result in extremely dry flammable material, which in turn contributes to the easy and rapid spread of forest fires, and especially to the difficulty of extinguishing them. It is therefore obvious that Greece, like the rest of Mediterranean countries, has to deal with an explosive mix of climatic conditions leading to more and more aggressive forest fires, with consequences for the natural environment, monuments located near or in forest areas, agriculture, livestock, and the countryside in general and its activities. Consequences also related to tourism, as well as to regional and national development in general. In the next slide, 13, we can see what happened at the end of July until 15th, 16th of August in Greece. We had a wide range of forest fires all over Greece. We have put them in an order of significance according to where they exploded. First of all, we can see the forest fire in Attica on Tuesday, the 3rd of August, near the capital of the city. The second is the forest fire of northern Elvia in the same day. Some hours later, we have to comment that the forest fire in northern Elvia was the biggest during the summer, during the fire season, but it spread some hours after the other big fire in Attica. As we can see, there are many forest fires either in the same day or some days before or some days after the spread of the first forest fire, which means that Greek firefighters had to spread all over Greece in different forest fires. We can go to the next slide, please, where we focus on the forest fire of northern Elvia Island. The wildfire started on Tuesday, the 3rd of August, as we mentioned before, in North Elvia, close to Madoudi settlement. It burned large forests, rural and urban areas. The total burned area is around to 471.233 acres. Burn severity is mainly characterized as high, of about 45%, as you can see from red color. The burnt vegetation consists of coniferous and mixed forest. We can also see on the next slide, please, the burn severity map. We have to mention also that it seems that fire severity was quite heterogeneous, but in general the canopy has remained on the trees, a fact that indicates that the fire was quickly moving. In the next slide, we can see the geology and geomorphology of the affected area. We just mentioned that northern Elvia is occupied by late Paleozoic to Mesozoic rocks of the internal Helenides that originated from Pelagonian domain and the Axios-Vardar Ocean. The fire affected, the total thickness of the ground exceeds 500 meters. The fire-affected area is characterized by abrupt slopes, cutting erosion, and dense drainage system. Most of the drain basins are small with short hydrographic networks, but there are few big drainage basins covering important part of the fire-affected area, ending up at the villages Gouves, Roviers, Neochori, and Kriavrisi. The next slide, please. Of the total area of forests and forested areas of local communities affected by the fire in the municipality of Limni Madoudi Agiana at the northern Evia, a percentage of 77.20% was burned. We speak about a great catastrophe, mega catastrophe, while the respective percentage in the municipality of Istiea and Ipsos amounts to 79.46%. It is characteristic that in most communities, this percentage exceeds 90% and reaches up to 100 of the existing forests and forest areas. Overall, and regardless of the fire severity, and as long as the burnt trees and their cones remain on the site, the forest will naturally regenerate. We have to mention here that there was another big forest fire at the same place in Evia at the late 70s, 1978, about 50 years, 50 years before. Regarding the regeneration of the endemic fire forest, it is imperative that any unburned parts will be very carefully preserved, so to ensure its natural regeneration. The same holds for black pine forest too. Regarding the need of constructing lock dams or branch barriers, so to halt potential soil erosion, this should be very carefully foreseen in steep slopes and especially in those forest patches which did not have any understory shrubby plants. The reason is that the lack of these shrubs will normally resprout vigorously after fire, will leave the burnt soil uncovered and hence susceptible to leaching and erosion. Mr. Yassounas Aliferis will continue. with the presentation.
About the response actions, the 112 emergency number service in Greece was fully activated in its incoming and outgoing comments on January 1st of 2020 after a 10-month trial period. Until August 2021, the emergency number was used by the Hellenic General Secretary for Civil Protection as a means of alert messaging and instruction distribution in several emergency instances related to earthquakes, wildfires, floods, severe weather phenomena, COVID-19, dangerous gas leak, and tsunami. Between July and August, 76 alert messages using the emergency number have been issued by the Hellenic General Secretary for Civil Protection to several areas of Greece being at that time in risk of wildfire, the text of which was written in both Greek and English. 66 of them called citizens located in areas approached by wildfire to evacuate, giving specific directions. 8 of them instructed people located in the wildfire area to be on standby and follow the instructions of the authorities, or to close doors, windows, and chimneys in order to prevent sparks entering the buildings. Furthermore, as the wildfire forecast has been set to the highest level of for Rhodes Island at August 4th, and for a large part of the country, and to high or medium level risk for all the rest areas, 2 more informative and directive emergency number message has been sent at August 4 to Rhodes and 5 to the whole Greek territory. The next slide, please. Okay, here we see a picture of emergency alerts sent via to the mobile phones of the citizens. In order to deal more effectively with fires that have struck Greece since early August 2021, the General Secretariat for Civil Protection, by order of the Deputy Minister of Civil Protection and Crisis Management, activated from the first moment the European Civil Protection Mechanism. The response of the EU and the member states of the mechanism was immediate, while in addition a number of states rushed to assist the country bilaterally. Taking into account the previous numbers of countries and the personnel involved in the response and firefighting in Greece in early August 2021, it is concluded that the EU has mobilized one of the largest ever European deployments of firefighters and aircrafts in history. In total, 25 firefighting aircraft, 1,202 firefighters, and 250 vehicles from 23 countries around the world participated in the battle for tackling the wildfires in Greece. The next slide is about the rescue mechanism, especially the forces mobilized. Based on official announcements of the General Secretariat of Civil Protection in Greece, the following countries responded to the request of Greece to fight the August 2021 mega fires. The information is as of 10th of August and is especially for the forest fire of Elvia. From Cyprus, we had 2 air tractors and 40 firefighters. From France, 3 aircrafts, 243 firefighters and 59 vehicles. From Croatia, 1 Canadair. From Sweden, 2 aircrafts, air tractors. From Romania, 108 firefighters and 21 vehicles. From Spain, 1 Canadair. From the Czech Republic, 34 firefighters and 13 vehicles. From Germany, 221 firefighters and 46 vehicles. From Poland, 143 firefighters and 46 vehicles. From Slovakia, 75 firefighters and 30 vehicles. And from Austria, 36 firefighters and 15 vehicles. From other countries, based on official announcements of the General Secretariat of Civil Protection in Greece, non-EU and other countries around the world also responded. The UK with 21 firefighters, Moldova with 25 firefighters and 4 firefighting vehicles, Serbia, 3 helicopters, 34 firefighters and 13 firefighting vehicles, Switzerland with 3 helicopters, Ukraine with 100 firefighters, Russia with 2 Illusion 76 aircrafts, 2 Mi-8 helicopters, USA-1 aircraft, Kuwait 40 firefighters and equipment, Qatar 66 firefighters and firefighting vehicles, United Arab Emirates 1 aircraft and equipment, Egypt 2 helicopters, and Israel 16 firefighters and 2 tractors. About the lesson learned, Mr. Koukouzas will proceed. Thank you, Adonis.
Well, as you have seen with the previous two slides, we understand that it was one of the largest, even the largest ever European deployment of firefighters and aircrafts in history. We have to mention that during last summer, and given the circumstances, Greek firefighters was one of the most difficult fire seasons, as we had to cope with a large number of fires in different places all over Greece, and difficult due to the existing climate conditions. We are grateful for EU civil protection mechanism, because without rescue, things would have been worse, as a country member capabilities may have collapsed. For sure, the Greek firefighting system mechanism exceeded its limits, and it was a great chance, it was an excellent example that showed us that without the aid of the other countries of European Union, things would be worse. We would have many more losses. So it was a chance to see that solidarity worked in action. We have to mention that this year is a year that we celebrate 20 years of the EU civil protection mechanism, as it started on 2001. What about the future of rescue and the European civil protection mechanism? Climate crisis is present. There is no doubt that we cannot avoid unexpected disasters and mega catastrophes. The big challenge which is in front of us is to be ready so as to have the less possible losses in people, properties, and critical infrastructure. The strategic doctrine should consist of prevention, preparedness and readiness, and resilience. Resilience builds upon the concepts of preparedness and recovery by focusing on how a country can maintain their usual operations in the face of an unexpected disaster. Resilience focuses not just on how to get back to normal life after something goes wrong, but on how can a country position itself to protect its population, its resources, and its infrastructure from threats in the first place. The picture is characteristic of how resilience works. In the next slide, we can see some actions which come after all this. I would like to mention that here in Greece, we are lucky to have former Commissioner Mr. Christos Stylianidis, a really experienced technocrat, as our Minister for the Climate Crisis and Civil Protection. His ideas focuses on preventive actions with the participation of general population, with field exercises, training from the early school age, activation and participation of volunteers, use of new technologies and early warning systems. Something new that he announced recently is that during the fire season of 2022, there will be a new measure of exchange firefighters who will help at the fire season at the Mediterranean countries and in Greece, as he said, and during the flood season, respectively. During the fire season 2022, we'll have new aerial means, and as we said, we want to see even more solidarity in action. Thank you very much from EPAES.
Thank you for your joint presentation, very complete, presenting the evolution of the protection mechanism and how it was used. I see that we are a bit late. I would just have one question for you. Do you have an idea on how many European firefighters organization or firefighters came to Greece during this season? Because we see that there were many volunteer organizations or other firefighters who came to Greece. Do you have an idea of the number of external support that you received?
The support was above 1,000 firefighters, 1,202.
Okay, thanks. So it's
above the number. Yes,
yeah.
It was a very significant help.
Yes.
A very significant support that was necessary for us to achieve the results, the best result that we could. Without them, there would be a greater catastrophe, unfortunately.
Yeah, thank you for this information. So we hope that the additional means that you will get for next year will be sufficient to cope with this event that will be repeating again and again. So thank you. I think that we can do now the come back to flooding, because our last speaker, Mr. Kiptisch from the Bavarian Red Cross, was not available earlier. And he will present the Bavarian Red Cross experience facing the flooding in Germany. Uwe, the floor is yours.
Christine, thank you so much. Can you see my webcam? No, it's black, no?
Yeah.
Better right now? So I have prepared me with a fine jacket and a tie, so it's very important. Just a second, I will share my screen and start to go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marie-Christine. Okay, freigeben. The presentation is shared? Great. Dear colleagues, good afternoon. Thank you so much to the Secretary General Marie-Christine Bonamour from PSAA that I have the opportunity to give you maybe a short overview. It was a really very large-scale mission, the summer flood in western of Germany, and I have focused my presentation on the topic of search and rescue. I think this is what you would like to hear, and I can start. And we have, I think, enough time to discuss. I have planned 20 minutes. I'm sure, Marie-Christine, I hopefully just in time. So it's my plan. And to my person, I'm working for the Bavarian Red Cross headquarters in Munich. And I'm also on high-level trained EU civil protection mechanism expert. So thank you so much to the colleagues from Greek and Romania, where I could jump in this session. Was quite interesting, and congratulations to your great job. So we had this situation. It was a screen from a normal warning app from a German weather association. It gives some burning information. It was 200 liters per square meters. It's really horrible. And you see it is a very large part. Can you see my arrow from a mouse? Yes, or? Is shared, or? Fine. As a western part of Germany, and you see the dark color. So with this information, we start a communication between the German Aerospace Center, and why I talk it a little bit later. So for your remind, this was international breaking news about our flooding situation we had never before in Germany. We had a big scale flooding in 2002 close to the capital of Dresden, River Elbe. And so the first assessment also to planning the search and rescue operation was by helicopter. It was on a Friday, 16th of July. It is an image of the helicopter. And what you can see is that we have a very destroyed area from no bridges, no ways, and we had also no idea how is a village normally, but you can say what is happened. So normally the national alarm plan is activated. The problem in Germany is we are a federalistic state. We must wait like the same game as a civil protection mechanism before ERCC Brussels activates the modules is we need and request of assistance. Yes, this is very difficult discussion. All aid workers are standby in her rubber shoes waiting. Yes, the engine is on, but we have no green light to start. But it was very quick to give a task and to move with all units in a base of operation. It was set up in a racetrack Nürburgring. This was a very good idea. So we had space enough as parking area, but also as base of operation. You can see the tent, and I think some of you know the great competence of our friend and experts from THW Germany. And so my personal task was I had a role as maybe team leader from a medical task force. We had in Germany 61 medical task force. One task force had round about 115 aid workers, paramedics, technicians, field cooks, etc., and 15 cars with ambulances, special trucks, etc., etc. You can imagine what we have on site. So it looks quite relaxed, the situation. You see the race cars, the safety control, you have a great parking area. Normally in the field, it's not so comfortable. And we had, okay, think what is ongoing. And so you have an idea how heavy was this rain and the flood in the night of Wednesday. You see this picture. It was a fire truck was around about 12 kilometers from his firehouse. We had searched the car more days, and so we had the idea what is also some affected houses, very strong. Yes, collapse building. It was a hotel. It was very critical. Search and rescue questions. Are person in? Which team leader says her user team go in this house? I'm not sure. Is this a good idea? What can we use? Can we an inside assessment roundabout? Are person in this car are sitting or not under this wood? And so this was a normally common post in the middle of Germany. It was all times it was a police and was an ambulance. It was not a high level post set up. It was an ambulance. We had not more. And so the problem was this was not arrived. As you see, the streets are from here and here from the floods. And all times I come later to this point, all times helicopters in the airs. And so what the command center in the affected area had done was to activate helicopter with winch. And who has winch helicopters for search and rescue operation? The Alp region. So from Bavaria, it comes and from ADAC, Automobile Club, it was with winch, and the flooding area was left. This was out from a tunnels there, and he brings patient and person. Another helicopter was from the Bavarian police, and so they have some experience with winch operations. You can saw here the ground hams. You have a clear idea what is ongoing. The ambulances are waiting, and this was really very critical. And we had also the new big helicopters from the German army, is NH-90. Yeah, you have also, and this was quite difficult to coordinate. And what is also not normally and was very maybe impressed was 5 days after flooding, we had ongoing search and rescue operations. Yeah, this was really a challenge. Why? It was a wide range affected areas in more regions, only in Rhineland-Pfalz and not Rhine-Westphalia. And so it was very difficult, was a combination between the aircrafts, also rescue helicopters, the ground people, the medics, the THW, the police, the unbound volunteers. So it could be also maybe, I will not say a problem, but a challenge is an unbound volunteer in a aid operation with flip-flop is not the best for the feeds, but they are here and he will help. So it's easy to handle the situation. What we had found on site was a very large affected area. A region round about the river R was more or less 13 kilometers. It was unmatchable destruction. It was in case of critical crisis communication, no coverage, more days, no radio are running, no Tetras functionalities, the antennas collapsed, the base stations are killed, no fuel for the generators, and so on and so on. And what you need for all the basis for your plan of action is in search and rescue operation, you have an assessment. Yeah, you talk, and I was very, and I appreciate the work from a former commissioner, Stellanidis. He done very great job. Yes, and so it is also what I had learned on a training in Cyprus during the assessment mission course. You need as soon as possible an overview, and we had as Red Cross an own four-wheeler, is amphibious truck, is called Argo, to come in a land or in this area. And you can see this was a level from a water. Yes, it was. Here's also a hazard tank. It is full. It is not full. I don't know. Here are windows from a restaurant. It was really horrible to find out which point is a point of interest for SAR missions. So this was the first, it was a short introduction that you have a little bit idea what was ongoing on site. Yeah, we had some horrible information that we had the information 2,300 people are missing. Whoa. Yeah, it's for Germany, not, it's a really a great number, and we need, I think 5D said this was more and more clarified, how many persons are missing and where are the rescue operations ongoing. It was also very affected houses and no streets. I don't know, it was quite difficult. And so what we had did was we have imagine what can our research project like SAR, it's your project. We had also project in from a German Ministry of Education and Research. And so we had a project IFA, it's a German-Austrian project. I think you can read it by yourself, but the message is with artificial intelligence, build up a satellite or on-site mapping that we have you very quick overview what is ongoing. And so we had resources enough. He was not directly involved in the operation, but he worked under great powers, the satellite communication center from DLR. And the next slide is the question all times is end users requirements and needs. Yes. And we had coordinate the mappings about our integrated command center 112. It is under command from a Red Cross, and his Center for Fire and Rescue Service. And so he was the interface between the satellite center from DLR in Oberpfaffenhofen and in the field. And so we had enough information, and I think after the session, I think the slides would be offered, and you have here a link. You can find it in English, and so it was really helpful to use. What we also did in the past, the flood was in July, and we was in October. You can see the picture from October with a drone to make drone images. And my Greek colleague has told that this is also Romania guy said drones are helpful, yes, but keep careful. We had some air traffic, and from a farm from the area, the drones flew higher than the helicopters, and this was really very difficult. So we have used only during the rescue operations, not so maybe for a small place like a football place to look what is ongoing. And you have, it's not your own land. I'm also 400 kilometers far away from the area. I never been before this, and you have no idea is a bridge missing or is not missing. But what really helps is if you have pre and post disaster maps. This was in the epicenter. It's called Bad Neuenahr-Ahrweiler. I think you had heard about. This is a map from ZKI DLR. You see it before. This is a firehouse, and you see it behind. And when you look here exactly, this house is lost. Okay. And the problem is the own family, let me say family, is affected. It is very emotional. Yes, if you are like to help, but you are far away and see the map and see, okay, the bridge is not using, yeah, and you know, and I think all experts in this presentation right now, if you find the right way to come with your unit or with your model, let me say with a truck, at a high level capacity, pumpers, USA teams, etc., etc. If you have not the right way and not find out the right locals, you need 5 hours longer for this short jump. And so thanks again to my colleagues from THW. I think I have Malisaw in the chat with name and picture. So this was very great job to set up bridges immediately in a quick time. And this helps also the population. But back to our topic, search and rescue. You can see, okay, critical there. The graveyard is 100% destroyed, also the houses. And so what we have done, and this was also helpful, was to make with drones special flight profiles to create a 3D map after the flood. Okay, for evaluation, you can use it, and for trainings or whatever, and you can see, okay, damaged, this, what happened. I think that could be helps. And what we had also activate was a crawler about social media or geosocial media analyze. And you see 17 was a flood as a peak. Yeah, it go highs, and you have you saw here are 3 and here 2,564 tweets. You see here is an epicenter, here is action. Yeah, and you have a focus. This helps, and you can go deeper and deeper and can pop up here and see, okay, Altenberg Quartiers in Teile is in, sorry, not in German. Some parts of a river is flooding. So maybe it is on the research condition. We are very good cooperation with the DLR, German Aerospace Center, but also there with the ZKIS, University of Salzburg in Austria. And this is a hard job, and you need for this some resources. Some people say, oh, I make a social media analysis, I check my Facebook account. Yes, it's a good idea to find out which date is a barbecue by your neighbor at next, yeah, but not to become an overview about the full scale dramatic. Yeah, and you can see also from a weather forecast in the western part of Germany, you have here some activations. This could be also help for SAR to say, okay, it is confirmed, it is one-to-one, what is ongoing, and I think is not a golden solution. It is a part of a solution. Okay, you have some also, if you have you can go with different solutions to fight with your disaster. So what was the benefit of those technologies? If you have a clear idea, and this is also from Epicenter as a restaurant, and this is our friend Argo. I think some of you know this car. So we have you need information as soon as possible, and so our experience maybe was to use UAVs for a small region, and the federal police had also used drones to fly in the collapsed buildings to find out missing peoples. Yeah, it's high aircraft crashing, and it is really a very, very wide range operation. So I think I'm good in time. I have the 2 last slides and come. Marie-Christine is happy. This is perfect. And come to my lessons learned is it is very useful to know the right people. It's a very old. Maybe I'm also old. It's a good friend and colleague from THW, and this is very helpful for SAR missions to talk. You jump out, jump for a quick coffee, and say what is ongoing. Where is a disaster scene? What is the needs? It's a common post setup. What is critical? What have you for information? Have you, and very easy things have a best effort to ask, is your old mobile phone number correctly? Have you another mobile phone? How can how are you available? Where is your base of operation? We can, again, search and rescue missions can profit from the new solutions. And it is also important that if you use new solutions, you must also train your staff. It makes no sense if you have a super drone for, I don't know, 50,000 euros and you have no payloader, no spotter, no pilot. So is a solution best solutions? Flooding in Germany, yes, so since we had search and rescue operation about several days. Normally we had a collapsed building, a gas explosion, a collapsed bridge. Yeah, but this was so long and we need 3-4 days. So if we had really an overview, what is ongoing, but we have only a sector and not the full scale. The cooperation is very brilliant between the satellite center from Oberpfaffenhofen, from DLR, and we have learned that also EU project Horizon 2020, FP7, Horizon Europe could help. I think also your project, congratulations, helps to prepare, and it is also maybe the message from PSE, climate change, and again, thanks for the Greek colleagues' presentation with the wildfire and the lady in front of this is a future challenge, what we must prepare for it. And so we can learn from each other. I appreciate the international work and the exchange. And so I have the last slide is in German, but I think your German is good enough. We're helping on site, and you see our car Argo to bring a population in the field. You have for clean up a room, and this is what we as Red Cross prefer is to help us. It was a girl. She was so happy. It was a hamburger from a field kitchen. We had every day 10,000. Lunches, 10,000 breakfast. We had the delivering of pasta comes not by a basket, it comes by CA 53 on the air. It was 3 tons of pasta. Yes, you need a very big cooking station. We had some field cooks on site, and it's also interesting. It's in a behind of a picture. You saw or you see displaced people. They are looking more days for her house. It was very difficult to discuss with all and to help. They don't accept help. They say, okay, my house, it's not here. Okay, yeah, let me look and yes, goodbye. So last but not least, thank you so much for the opportunity to give a short overview about this dramatic situation. Please find my contact details also from Dr. Mark Wieland, and I hope you had a little bit more imagine what was ongoing and how important it is to make a very good search and rescue operation during a disaster. Thank you so much. This was from my side.
Thank you for this presentation, giving us your feedback on the lesson learned. I see that there are questions in the chat. So there is one from Sofia Karma, who is also working on a search and rescue project. There are questions about the reason for this high toll of casualties and death people. So what do you think that went wrong? Is it just a matter because it was an extraordinary flash flooding, or is it because there were problems with the early warning to the population? And what could be the prevention measures in the future that should be adopted to prevent this again?
I have a little problem to find in which camera I can look. Okay, it's in my home studio. Sorry, I'm back. Okay, it's a really thank you for this question. It is really a political question. Yes, so I will politician give you a fair answer. It was really a flash flood. Yes, the problem was we had learned it is raining, and it's a river. There was where the flash flood come is not deep, is a half meter deep and one meter bright. Large, okay, it's small in a village, and it comes more than 200 and 300 liters. Normally the level is 1 meters. In a peak of a flood it was 9 meters and more. Horrible. Okay, and so all destroys bridges from the first village, was blocked the next blick, and this was amazing. So we had a long discussion, and thanks again to PSA to address the 112 regulation. Yes, so cell broadcast after this flood will be activated also in Germany. I think this is a good solution. And the problem was before the border fall down in 1989 in Germany, we had sirenas to alarm the population and had tested. And so along the river, some firehouses activate her sirenas, yeah, but nobody knows what will the signal ask to me. The helpful tool really was the church and the pastor who ring his bell in a church tower. Yes, some people had not imagined how strong the flood will be there. We have some prevention and preparedness for big storms like Rhine, like Elbe, like mine. So we are for this kind we are prepared, yes. But the problem is from a situation of flood floods. The expert said you have, I think, 2 hours for warning, not more, and nobody can imagine, yeah, what will say. And the problem is and thanks again, what in the future, yeah, what is the lessons learned from the population? And I can say to you nothing. I was in October in this area. I was in July, in October, and November. I think I'm every month in Ahrtal. And so the problem is, if the building was collapsed, it's a rebuild from the house on the same place. It's exactly the same area, and nobody, a small part of a population will move in another area, but in this area is alive, is her heart. I can understand a little bit, and so the population is not motivated to set up to build on another place. This was really a problem, and maybe so for the flash flood questions, we have, I think, a balance. We have more and more flash floods. We had it also 2016 in south of Bavaria. Was a similar, only for one area. And so yes, in summarize, the reason for many deaths is it was not imagined that it will come so high. It's normally 1 meter. This was 9 meter high. This was not imagined on everybody. And the flash flood comes for the, maybe the researcher said every 200 years, maybe. I have no idea if the next 200 years is next year. This is very difficult, and so this is what I can give you as answer. Hopefully this is okay. If you need more detail, yeah, send me an.
But thank you. I think that the question of the public warning to the population and prevention measures will be essential, because if there are so massive disaster coming around Europe, then that could be one way of reducing the impact of this disaster. So I would like to thank you.
Marie-Christine, sorry. I will give a short answer to the last question from Elvis Tigo. It's okay. It's 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, how effective are drones in search and rescue operations? Yes and no. A clear yes and no. So if it makes sense, you can use this. If you have one collapsed building or an area like a football field and you go in a high and you have a short overview. The problem is, how is the way the data share? Who will receive the data? Okay, you have in a base of operation or in a command centers, the mission 2,500 people are missing. Every hour comes in an evaluator, we find 3 deaths in a garage, in a field, etc., etc., etc. And so the problem is, if you need drones, you bundles resources. You need a pilot and flight officer and payloader, and this is the people that are missing for your active search and rescue. This is for me. I'm ready. Back to Marie-Christine. Sorry for the interruption, but drones.
No, thank you, because I didn't see the question from Elvis, so that's good that you pick it up.
Yeah, drone questions.
So,
I'm ready. Thanks.
Yeah, but I would like to thank you all. I think we trying to cover 2 different disasters at Europe, and I hope that you received interesting information. Do not hesitate to contact us for any further information. As already announced, all presentation will be made available to the participants. And please also continue to follow search and rescue projects. We are now arriving to the second part of the project, and we'll come also with pilots. So please follow us, and thank you a lot for your participation and attendance. Goodbye to all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.